I think it was the book that I was reading by Patrick Bet-David, Your Next Five Moves. But he talked about this idea of having a pain resume and a gratitude or successful resume or list or whatever the case you want to call it, right? And I did these activities myself in my notes or whatever. And at first I thought it was like relatively important. I saw the importance of it. Like essentially what you do is write a pain resume where you write five things that like really like throughout your life that happened that caused you immense amount of pain or whatever, like the most painful things. And then you write a list of things that you got, that you succeeded through, like goals that you accomplished, times that you felt really happy with what you the accolades that you got, or whatever the case may be, right? The list doesn't have to be long. It could be like 5-10 things, whatever the case may be. And I did it, and at first I was looking at it, I was like, wow, I really, the point is to understand that the pains that you went through, you got past them, right? You're still alive, you're still you're still moving, you're still doing things that you're supposed to be doing, regardless of how you felt at those times. Maybe at those times you felt like it was the end of your life, like you don't want to live no more, whatever the case may be. Like horrible things happen to people, mistakes happen, this and that happens, and you feel very horrible. Like I know I went through that, right? But then you also look at your successes. You're like, okay, if I accomplish this, I can also accomplish that. And it's like, it essentially helps you build your mindset in terms of like how strong it is and how resilient it is, because you got past hard times, and how big things, the big things that you have accomplished. So like you have the durability, you have the skill, you have the ability to accomplish these things, and you have the ability to get past those other things, right? And recently in this book that I'm reading, Psycho-Cybernetics, they talk about this idea of when you're able to envision your life in a way with successes, you're able to continuously do other things successfully, right? So it doesn't even need to like connect. As long as you've achieved success in your life at one point, if you could just envision what was happening at that time, what you were doing, how it felt, what you felt, the weather, what did it sound like, just use it all your five senses, relive that moment completely. Whatever next task that you have to do in real time, you can accomplish it. And it makes sense because apparently like it's just something with like your brain and like the neurons and everything connects, where you almost get excited and like happy, and you get this sort of like good tension, or like he calls it excitement in your like stomach. And like you might think it's like anxiety and the butterflies. Just like let the butterflies fly, like let yourself be excited to do this next thing. Like if you're like trying to, I feel like the easiest thing to always compare to is like talking to a girl, right? Like when guys are trying to like talk to a girl, they're like, oh my god, I'm so scared, what if I get rejected, this and that. If you can just go back into a time in your life where you thought something was gonna be hard, thought you were gonna get rejected, maybe you thought you were gonna lose, and you can just relive that moment, you will be able to get the courage to go and talk to that girl in real time. And it's such an important skill to be able to just be courageous in times where you need to be, because and I think like when I looked at the pain resume and the success resume, I think I should have made it more longer and more detailed, and I think it should have mainly focused on success. And because of this book, and I understand, like I said, I understand the pain and the success at first, but now I'm gonna remake this list with a detailed version of each time I had success. And I think I'm first gonna write out the successes and then write out them in detail, because when you're in a position where you just need to think of something, it's always so hard to think of the things. So imagine you just always had access to a list of things right in your notes or whatever, of all the times that you had success. And it doesn't matter if it's small, big, it could be anything. It could be a time where you cooked a recipe correctly. It could be when you won a race. It could be something as big as like losing 30 pounds, making $1 million. It could be when you talked to that girl and it was a successful conversation. It could have been when you're doing class presentation and everybody clapped at the end. It could have been when you were dancing and everybody clapped at the end. It doesn't matter what it was. As long as you consider it a success to yourself, that you were happy that you got it done, that you were able to make things happen, it should go on the list regardless, right? It doesn't matter how big or small it is, right? So you write out these things that you accomplished, and then eventually I can see why it would be good to write out the details of them, just to like get your brain flowing. But I feel like it's also like if you're able to be that creative and imaginative on the spot, which I wouldn't, I feel like in some cases you can be, but whatever, right? Say you're in a position where you need to be courageous, you need to have the confidence and self-esteem that you just can't seem to build up, and you're just filled up with anxiety and overthinking, and you're just looking at things negatively. Pull out this list, look at the first one, look at anyone that you want to look at, whatever, and just start thinking and imagining exactly like you almost want to have, you almost want to imagine yourself in a movie theater sitting all by yourself, right? And on the big screen is the exact memory that's playing of when you succeeded, and not just when you succeeded, from the beginning all the way to the end. Imagine it all, the sounds that are coming out, the way you felt, what happened, what did your parents say, what did the strangers that saw you say, whatever the case may be, right? What were you wearing, what did it smell like, everything, right? Use your five senses to the max degree and just feel that level of success again. And then once you do, you'll feel like this level of like energy is just so, it's just something I can't even explain, but you feel it, and then you just go ahead and do whatever you do, and it's all just for your mind, because most of everything that you need to be doing that you're not doing is just a level of courage and self-esteem that you might not, or confidence that you might not have, and you can easily be built within you just through your mind. And if you can do it through your mind, your body will naturally follow. And so getting your mind in the right shape will constantly have you be able to do courageous acts, and over time you'll naturally have that courage, essentially using that success to get over things that are scary at first. And most things in life that you like find really scary, what is it, I forgot the quote, it's like it's an ocean wide but a very inch deep or something like that, like where it's like you look at it, you're like, oh my god, this is so big and scary, and then once you go step into the scary part, it's very like simple, like you're like, oh, that's what I was scared of. It's like a roller coaster, you see it like going all around, it's going up and down and upside down, you're like, oh my god, that's so scary. And then you go on it, you're like, that's what I was scared about, it that was kind of fun, whatever the case may be, right? And you get so happy because you get dopamine because you accomplished something that you were scared of. And so over enough time, you do this like success building envisionment in your head, you accomplish different hard tasks that you weren't able to do before, and you naturally build the courage, you naturally build this durability to do hard things, and you just start accomplishing that much more in life. So you gain the skill, your life will change.